Easy peasy.
And we're off to the races, guys. It's been a journey, all right. It's been a while. I haven't seen any of you guys. I hope everyone's having a fantastic hump day. Today is hump day, and I'm really, really beyond excited because each day it's a great day to wake up and thank God for another day, or the cosmos, or whatever you decide to praise. I praise God myself every day, and I'm glad to be alive. And that said, we must take care of ourselves, take care of our brains, and have mental health is a big issue these days, that due to a whole host of things, whether it was the epidemic that we had, the pandemic, or like whatever you want to call it. A lot of people tend to deal with mental health issues, and mind growth is another thing that we talk about a lot on the show. We get a lot of people on here, but very few times and far between do I ever have such a the cosmic stars come together and align for me, if you will. And I have by far, like such as today, I have by far one of the greatest, in my humble opinion, esthetician, the guy with beauty, I would call it a beauty guru, knows how to get a facelift without literally getting a facelift. We'll talk about oils, frankincense. We'll find out what castor oil can do for your face. You guys, he's a world-renowned a YouTuber. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. He'll share some tips, some beauty tips. Without further ado, let's welcome, guys, if you will, put it together for Chris Gibson.
That's quite an intro.
Like I said, it's to me, we feel giddy, like to have you on is great. As I was looking at some stuff that's pretty mind-blowing, like castor oil. You don't have to break the bank, and you have some cool like beauty tips and stuff, and we're gonna delve into that. I know you said you're in a place where it's literally raining right now.
Yeah.
And SoCal, it's like 90 degrees right here, hot. So it's crazy, middle of summer. Yeah. So how the hell have you been, Chris?
Good, busy. It's been busy, but it's a good thing. Summer, all the seasons are really busy, but summer is a skin season because we start off in May talking about Skin Cancer Month and how to look for skin cancer and how important it is to use sunscreen. And then we move into the summer months where it's sticky and hot, and you don't want to wear heavy skincare products. Don't work as well for people, and so it's always again, sun protection being the big thing. So we don't have to undo a lot of damage in the fall that happened over the summer. So it's always busy, but summer is a different type of season. You've got people swimming. You've got all sorts of issues with skin when it comes to like chlorine, seawater, salt water, what have you, sunburns, you name it. Tick bites, mosquito bites, all just it's its whole thing unto itself. So
it does take a toll. You're absolutely right. So what does chlorine do? Just out of curiosity, what does it do to your face?
Well, chlorine tends to dry out the skin. It's basically bleach. And while it is sterile, the biggest benefit is obviously it's antibacterial. So it's good that way. But it a lot, if you're in it a lot, it can really dry out your skin, and you need to replace that moisture that it takes out. The other thing is that chlorine breaks down in sunlight. So when you're in the sun and you're wet with chlorine a lot, that chemical breakdown process is actually happening on your skin too, which can lead to irritation. A lot of people have irritation of soft tissues if they swim. That there goes some thunder right there. So a loud one too. So it's it's important to use your sunscreen to stay moisturized and to rinse off as quickly as you can. A lot of pools have a shower. Public pools, I know here in Florida, almost all of them have a rinse shower where you just get in there and rinse off. So it's helpful not to let, again, that chlorine dry on the skin.
Okay. And that said, so would you say, like more or less, what is how long ought we to stay in the pool, or does that have any implications? Like it save you
Um,
stay longer in the
I
pool?
don't know that there's like a recommended. As a kid, I stayed in the pool for hours. As an adult, I usually let myself to 15 to 20 minutes. The minute I begin to get pruny fingers,
Yeah,
I'm like, it's
right,
time for me to get out.
right.
The
That's
amphibian traits in our human ancestry become
yeah.
apparent, so that we don't slide off of stuff. That's why you get pruny fingers and toes, so we can move about in wet environments. But yeah, that's
Interesting.
generally my rule of thumb. I get out. I'm usually in there 15 or 20 minutes. I don't spend hours in the pool anymore.
Right. So, Chris, your skincare journey, I mean, it started with a pretty tough personal battle, right? Can you
Yeah,
shed light on
acne,
that?
cystic acne. When I was in my, actually it started with me at 11. But it got worse and worse as I got older, and this is the 80s. I'm 61 now, so this is like 1980.
Holy mother of
As
God.
11 was in the 70s, so there wasn't a lot that they did except give you antibiotics for it. There were a lot of myths around food, chocolate. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, so went through the whole process of antibiotics all through high school, because the main objective when you have cystic acne of your dermatologist is to keep you from scarring.
Okay.
Their goal really is, your goal is to not have any blemishes. That's your goal. Your self-esteem is riding on the
Right.
fact that I don't have a pimple anywhere.
Most
But the
definitely.
main objective of dermatologist, medical professional, is that they don't want you to have scars, because eventually in their mind, the skin will clear up. Now, there are people that have had skin issues with acne their whole life. It never went away. I was typically one of those people, or going to be one of those folks. Even took the new wonder drug Accutane when it came out twice. Um, and so I had the third try I was 23 years old. My third try was with a top dermatologist in Dallas, which was where I was living at the time. And they handed me a prescription for the same old stuff. So I tossed it in the trash and decided there had to be something else. So that's what kicked it all off. So, back then, no internet, you had a library, and you had herbal stores we didn't have GNC, we didn't have Vitamin Shop. All that stuff was like taboo.
Yeah.
Those places that sold that were herbal shops, culture shops, as they called them, which sold other things like the occult stuff. So it was all mixed in there together,
That's right.
usually in some really dilapidated. There's a
Oh,
loud
there it
one.
goes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a loud one. My dogs will probably whine now. But anyway, dilapidated, the end place in a dilapidated, what do you call it, like shopping center.
Right.
But I went in there and I got some herbs to try. A detoxing is how this all started. So she had me detox, which made it worse. And it's going to get worse where it gets better. And it did. And then the idea hit me in the head that something in my diet must be doing this,
Yeah.
because it's worse. So I made that connection. And so I cleaned up my diet. I went on a 3-day fast. I've talked about this fast for 100 years. We have colon cleanses now and all sorts of stuff, but I went on a fast, took food out of my diet for 3 days. And guess what? My skin cleared up
Tell me what food
quickly.
specifically.
I took it all out. I didn't eat anything for 3 whole days.
Holy
And
moly.
so as I added stuff back in, I would notice what would kick it off. So
Yeah.
sugar was a big component for me. So I have lived a pretty sugar-free, not completely sugar-free, but pretty generally sugar-free diet my whole life. I
And
have the stuff every once.
has that attributed to how good you look? You look
I think
spectacular. You look very
I
young.
think yeah, I
To
think
some
part
degree.
of it I think part of it is I've been careful with my diet. We now know a lot of things about sugar we didn't know,
Right.
like that it degrades. Too much sugar in the body turns into problems for collagen production. It helps shorten the lives of your skin cells and other cells of organs. We already know about diabetes and all the other things that it's related to, obesity, all of those things. But for me, it was kicking off bad bacteria in my gut. So people weren't talking about gut health back then. I was on probiotics before those were even a thing.
Wow.
Um, So because I took sugar out and cleaned up the mess that antibiotics had made with the bacteria, the naturally occurring bacteria in my digestive tract, which produce toxins, the negative ones do, candida is what we call it, a yeast.
Mhm.
I got that under control. And as long as I behaved for many years, I didn't get any breakouts. So even today, if like say it's the holidays and I start eating a lot of stuff that has sugar in it, I will start getting a bump or two. So
Little
it still
blemishes.
does that for me. Um,
Wow.
Although not nearly, I don't produce nearly as much oil as I did as a kid. You know, dermatologist is like, you'll be happy you're oily when you're older because oily skin doesn't
Yeah,
wrinkle as oily
right.
skin's more protected from the sun. But I learned so much. I learned about exfoliation from that guy. He was really ahead of his time. He talked
Wow.
about diet. He said it's not the chocolate, it's the sugar in the chocolate. You know, it's there were a whole lot of things that I learned from him that benefited me. And then of course it's grown from there as I've gotten older. Um, you know, going and learning to be
Yeah.
a nutritionist and then an esthetician. And so now I understand I've formulated 3 skincare product lines in my life. So understanding what ingredients do what and how they work is able to help me give a whole picture. So when people watch me on the channel, the biggest feedback I get is that I take pretty complex subjects and make them very easy to understand.
Break them
Why
down.
they
Absolutely.
work, you know, why they work and what not to waste your money on, that type of stuff. Um,
So you kind of demystify all
yeah.
the
Well, yeah, you know, in 2004, I wrote a
jargon.
book. I wrote a book on the acne experience, and it became a
Mhm.
bestseller. And I was on television for
That's right.
like 5.5 years. You know, every TV show you can think of, I was on there. I put a green homemade do-it-yourself facial mask on George Foreman in a $3,000 Italian suit on the Daily Buzz. That
You
was,
remember
you
those
know,
good old days? How
crazy,
rest go,
it's
huh?
crazy stuff. Yeah, that I got to do. But you know, as I've gotten older, the focus has shifted to because there are people who have been following me since they were in their teens and 20s that still watch me today, and they're in their 30s and 40s, which is so
Unbelievable.
weird. And I guess I'm 60,
Well,
so
thank
this
you.
is so weird.
And it's
Uh,
crazier, even so, more so that you're still looking the same way, which is even
well, I work out. You know, it's the whole thing. I get accused. You must be lying. You don't sound old. I don't know what sounding old sounds like.
right.
Um, you know, I work out. I intermittent fast. I take really care of myself. If I have a little too much partying going on because there's always events I'm at, charity stuff, then
Mhm.
I'll pull back on that kind of stuff. I try to watch the alcohol intake, all of the things that you should do anyway.
Right.
But I am very active. So that's, you know, I have a gym. I built a gym inside my house um, so that because I hate going to the gym
Me too.
for a variety of reasons. Nowadays, people start asking me questions about stuff once they figure out who I am.
Well, you're a celebrity, so they come up to you.
Yeah, YouTube is like, I mean, this is because it's not TV or movies. People think of you from YouTube as just you're accessible, so they just
Right.
come right up to you. It happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
So I work out at home because I will get distracted. It's easy for me to spend 20, 30 minutes talking to somebody about whatever their stuff is. So I don't do one-on-ones too often anymore. Every once in a while, I offer them because I have an online community called Skin So Fabulous, and those people get a crack at those. I'm about to start doing a live stream Q&A
Sure.
probably next month on the channel where people can ask me questions. Um,
I
but
have
yeah,
one right off the top. Real quick.
what's
What
that?
your book, once again, the acne book. Can you share what's the name of the
Yeah,
book?
it's called Acne Free in 3 days. And to be honest with you, it is very old. 2004 for a book is ancient history. It needs to be updated. There's a lot of new information. We're working on that. Still available on Amazon.
In
Still
Amazon.
get it.
Okay. Okay.
You can even still get it. I think as you can order as a hardcover or paperback, but it really does need a new edition. And we're going to update that information. And then there'll be another book coming out on aging, skin aging specifically,
Okay.
and what I do because the attention has really grown now that I'm 61 and I'm
Wow.
even locally when I'm out, it freaks people. It's a thing. My friends, right
It's
off, I'm like,
insane,
do
dude.
not ask people that quick. How old do you think he is? How
Yeah.
old do you think he is? I hear it all the time, and people never guess right. So
It's
That's a good
phenomenal.
thing. I mean, it's a good
Yeah.
thing. Like I said, I really stay on top of my health.
Being that you were an esthetician, you might know a thing or two, obviously, about you mentioned the green masks, right? Like the face masks and whatnot. Are you do you believe in like have you ever worked with uh, uh what is it, oatmeal and stuff like oats and
Yeah, the
drank the
avocado
oatmeal in?
facial I did. The avocado
Yeah.
facial was avocados, oatmeal powder,
Okay.
and honey.
Got it.
That I mean, that's that mask. Oatmeal is very soothing to the skin. It
Yeah.
helps with inflammation and redness, especially if you have eczema or your tendency to flush.
Right.
Avocado is great enzyme to help loosen dead skin cells. Has a lot of AHA in it. It's also very nourishing and let's say humidifying for the skin, hydrating for the skin. And then of course, honey is really good for the skin as well. It's antibacterial. So if you have prone to acne breakouts, that's a really great mask. But there are a lot of them.
Right.
Anything green tea, you know, I don't have the issue with masks is that you don't have too much of an issue unless it's a peeling mask that has a lot of skincare acids in it. You really need to test those out on the inner elbow before you put those on your face.
Yeah.
Those ingredients because they can. Cucumber's great. I mean, cucumber's very soothing. That's been around forever. It still works. Caffeine for under-eye puffiness. A caffeine
I need
serum.
that. Yeah.
Or actually cold coffee.
Oh, really?
Leftover coffee in the refrigerator and yeah, it works. It works great.
What are the most common like misconceptions people have about holistic skincare and anti-aging?
Well, I think there's still a lot of people don't understand that prevention is the key for protecting your skin from the damaging effects of the sun. And if you have sun damage, jumping on it with the right ingredients and stuff like that can make a big difference. The other misconception is that you have to spend a lot of money on a product to get it to work. There are a lot of products that work or cost a lot of money that work well for people and don't work well for other people. There are a lot of holistic approaches that work well for people, don't work as well for other people. So it's not a one size fit all. That's probably the biggest myth about skincare in general. And that's the hard thing because so many of these push the envelope with what the deliverable is on the skincare product or routine or whatever. The promise is you're going to get this, and they're very light on the it might not work for everybody, which usually is just a little bitty sentence that says results may vary or likely will vary. So you have that as well. But the one size fit all, the more something costs, the better it's going to work is truly a myth.
Okay. Yeah. Are there any natural ingredients that are like hyped up but don't really deliver, in your opinion?
Okay, say that again.
Are there any like natural ingredients that people say like they swear by that don't really deliver? They don't actually work?
Well, you have to watch sunscreen. You have to watch sunscreens is a really good one. I'm looking up an ingredient here now while I'm talking to you, which is a great thing about technology, right? Sunscreen, avobenzone, oxybenzone. There are a lot of skincare ingredients that are problematical for people, not just beyond the fact that some of them break the blood barrier, but that they can irritate the skin. So a 50 is not necessarily better. I used to tell people 35 to 40 max. You have to reapply it anyway because people think a 50 means you don't have to reapply it.
Yeah, that's the exception, sure.
Yeah. The other thing to watch for in ingredients are a fragrance, especially if it doesn't tell you what it's made out of. Fragrance can be a real problem for people. Denatured alcohol, which is very drying. Now, esters are actually hydrating, and so alcohol gets very confusing for a lot of folks. You said no alcohol in my skincare products, and I saw ester alcohol. Well, it's a fat. That's a fatty alcohol, so it's very hydrating and soothing. So so yeah, that's a really big one. And anything that's going to be pore clogging, like waxes, petroleum jelly, those
Right.
type of things. If you have a tendency for blocked pores, blackheads, or breakouts, you really want to avoid those type of ingredients.
What's good for your what's good for the rings under my eyes? That's a personal question for me to you. I mean, part of it is
Well, if it's puffiness, you said cucumber. Anything chilled is going to help drain lymph
yeah.
fluid. But
I do
caffeine serums or caffeine are really helpful with reducing darkness and pulling back the little capillaries and shrinking
yeah.
those little pockets underneath the eye. It's a really great ingredient. Usually everyone tolerates it very well for their skin. So yeah.
This is great because we're all aging here. Like specifically you're aging gracefully, and now that I'm going to start.
I work at it. There's no doubt
I
about
mean,
that.
this is without injections or surgery, which is great.
No, no. The only thing I've had done is I just had it. I have one more treatment to go. Is deep microneedling with RF therapy, which is radio frequency, which heats the tissues. I'm a big believer in red light therapies for the skin. This is the therapy that helps the collagen produce more of itself, so you don't have to get filler. It also micro damages the skin and so it turns on your stem cells to help produce healthier cells, plump out your face. It really does amazing stuff. I don't have a lot of wrinkles. I've been on that for most of my life, but I'm real happy with that treatment. There'll be a full video coming out on that treatment.
It's fantastic. I can hardly wait. Go ahead.
I'll just say it was worth it.
Can you shed light on like the castor oil? I saw some of that video and I know it's there on your YouTube.
Yeah,
which by the way, guys, your YouTube is Chris Gibson live, and I have it on one of the bars there.
Follow that's absolutely it. Simple. What was I going to say? Castor oil. Okay, so there's been a lot of conjecture about castor oil because of Twitter and of TikTok. Both TikTok's had a lot of viral videos on castor oil. Castor oil is something I've been using for years. It's in a lot of skincare ingredients. It's fractionated. What it does, it's very calming for the skin. It's antibacterial and super hydrating without blocking pores. So it's very helpful for things like eyelash growth, eyebrow growth. It's great for acne breakouts. It's great for you. It's great for everything. It used to be a laxative. When I was doing this and talking about castor oil back in the day, that's my mom was telling stories to me about how they would give them castor oil followed by orange juice,
right,
when they were sick, to get everything to move through. And it's a very harsh laxative. People don't use it for that anymore. And it won't do that to you on the skin, or if you're using it on scalp or eyebrows or eyelashes or any of that stuff, only if you ingest it. And you'd have to ingest like a tablespoon or two of it to get that effect. But it is a very, very well-researched, well-documented, you can Google scientific backed ingredient that does a lot of great things for skin, especially when it comes to inflammation.
And let's talk about, nowadays a lot of folks are going under the knife, and everyone obviously, does not want to take the shortcut sort of via, as opposed to working at it with more of a holistic approach, if you will, more that do it yourself at home kind of thing. Do you think a lot of this cultural shift the fact obviously that not everyone has the money for starters even undergo the knife, so to speak. So I think having you, it's so refreshing personally. Do you think there's also a cultural shift, like people are starting to jump on the bandwagon and starting to do these type of medicinal things at home?
Yeah. One, it saves money. Until a lot of people are frustrated with spending a lot of money on stuff they didn't get results from. So there's that piece. And then, there's a lot of science behind stuff. Like you brought up frankincense. That's been studied.
Biblical.
It's been studied about the effects it has for skin, the healing effects, wound healing. As a matter of fact, there's helichrysum oil, which is great for bruising, especially if you're older and you get skin tears and bruising. It helps improve circulation in the bruise and move that those used red blood cells, which is what the bruise is, when it turns kind of brown and yellow before it goes away. It helps speed that process up. So there's a lot of documentation behind the oils, these holistic ancient healing oils, that works very, very well. And my particular viewership is very interested in them. Anytime I put out something on these oils, the video does extremely well.
Right.
So,
can you share like I know you share obviously so much knowledge and insight on your YouTube. Can you share like a quick do-it-yourself sort of treatment that you swear by that works for the night, like the night cream of sorts, as it were?
yeah, we have two things. One is exfoliation, and the other is called slugging. And what slugging is using an occlusive material that's kind of airtight. You can use Vaseline or Aquaphor. I'd rather use Aquaphor than Vaseline, but there are a lot of products out now, overnight masks that you apply to the skin.
Yeah.
They absorb in, they hold the moisture in your skin and allow your active skincare products to work better, longer, deeper. So you get better results. So if you're a person using tretinoin, for instance, or Retin-A on your skin, and you're applying this very hydrating mask before you go to bed, one, it helps with the drying effects of Retin-A. It also helps keep the Retin-A active, the retinoic acid active longer, so you get better results. You just rinse that off in the morning and go about your day. So it's not truly, it doesn't look like you have a mask on with a lot of these products, but that is what it is essentially. That is one of the biggest things that is helpful for a lot of people that have not been seeing results with their skincare.
Let me ask you something. As far as like we mentioned a lot of marketing fluff and things that truly don't work because it's not a one size fits all approach. How does one is there like a way, like you say, you're going to do a Q&A, like an actual forum, as it were, where people will ask you these questions? Is that a way to go about so that you don't do more harm to your tissue, your face tissue?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, finding somebody and asking questions, but there are a lot of, and I'll probably try to look one up in a minute, but there are a lot of skincare websites that tell you what ingredients are in something. You put in the product, it breaks down the ingredients. I wish I could think of that off the top of my head. There's one that I use all the time. I can't think of the top of my head. But anyway, if you Google that, skincare ingredient list, they'll come up, and you just put that information in, and it tells you, I think it's Inky Decoder, something like that. But anyway, that one that I use, you put it in, and it will tell you every ingredient and what it does, and is it good for your skin or not.
Okay.
Even to the point that if you have sensitive skin, this might not be the best ingredient to put on your skin. So
wow.
Inky List is a brand, so it's something decoder. Something Inky Decoder, something like that. INCI Decoder, something like that. So it's similar, but there are several of those. All you gotta do is Google that. How do I find out what's in my skincare product? And there are 5 or 6 of them that you type in, and then they give you the ingredients. They'll even tell you if they're cruelty free.
Yeah, that's important.
Or sustainable, or sustainable. They'll tell you all that stuff. Yeah,
or sustainable. That's definitely will answer a lot of questions and it put people at ease. Speaking of at ease, what does your like day-to-day look like day-to-day life? What does the day in Mr. Chris Gibson look like from start to finish?
And so there are several things that I try to make sure happen. My workouts, obviously my research, my YouTube videos, 3 to 4 long form videos go out a week. There's another 3 or 4 short videos that go out. Then I have a online community called Skin So Fabulous, which is a membership. It's free, but it's membership driven, where people ask questions and things get posted over there. I have a small skincare line that we're developing. So we have a skincare business that we're also working with on my own formulations in it. So you can imagine my day's pretty busy.
In terms of more so in terms of the kind of diet, what does the dietary day look like for you?
I lean towards plants-driven proteins. I do have meat protein in my diet, high protein, especially because of my age. High protein, low sugar, as you might already guess. Carb days on the days I work out to build muscle. Low carb days on the days I do not. Magnesium in my diet. I take a magnesium supplement to help sleep and heart health. Vitamin K2 for heart health. This vitamin K2 plus D3, which helps. D3 helps the K2 manage the calcium in your body, keep it out of your veins and your brain and where your bones, where it belongs. Especially important for ladies. I talk a lot about that on the channel. And of course, collagen peptides, the building blocks of the collagen in your body. I have those in my diet as well. So, I don't eat a lot of different things. I kind of have it narrowed down. Although I go out and have dinners, I'm very social. So I eat different stuff. But at home, if I go to wheat, it's really not the range. It's not that. It's lean proteins. If it's meat protein and it's plant protein, collagen peptides, fruit, blueberries especially are good for you. Banana, salads. And I like dairy. Dairy doesn't give me a problem, so I do eat cheese, and sour cream is like my favorite thing. But again, low carb, no carb. So I'm able to fashion a really good diet with that stuff.
Yeah. Wow. I'll say I'm hungry just listening to you. I love sour cream myself and cottage cheese as well.
Yeah.
Maybe let's talk about your 2 dogs. You have a dog, Joey and Emma, correct?
Yeah.
Dogs.
They're
what kind of dogs do you
have? Jack Russell terrorists. But they're older. One's asleep to the left of me. The other's asleep to the right of me. She's moved her bed completely away from the wall because we had a thunderstorm. They don't get as nervous about the weather as they used to because I don't think they hear as well. In fact, she didn't do anything but sleep. But one is 15 and the other is 14. But they're very healthy. The vet told me that's the healthiest 15-year-old dog she's ever seen. I'm like, yeah, I know. They haven't slowed down. They run through the yard. They're really great companions. And they've learned, since I've been doing YouTube for 7 years, they actually know when I'm filming to be quiet. They're really good. On rare occasion, you'll hear Emma's tapping feet go through the room. But normally they don't bark. They're very quiet. They've been really good on this. They kind of know when Dad's working. Although I'm surprised we didn't hear him whine because that storm was really loud. But
yeah, that was loud.
But they know, for you to be able to hear it through this noise reduction microphone, it was really loud. But the lights didn't even flicker. So thank you.
Yeah, it did. You notice it did. It did at the outset, like right when we started, it did. But it was it flickered, and it was just like a tiny flicker I saw.
Yeah, they didn't.
Nothing major.
And now it's over with. The sun will be out here in a few minutes.
It's typical Florida, right?
Yes.
How does holistic living extend to caring after your animals? Like, do you?
I think they get a supplement for bone health, and they're very active, and so people have drawn that correlation when your dogs are healthy this age because you are. I do not give them people food.
Okay.
On rare occasion, they will get something. Emma likes peanut butter and peanuts. She'll get 1 or 2 of those. She also likes popcorn. She might get a piece of popcorn. Joey won't eat any of that stuff. So they really do stick to, good food. I use Pet Fresh. I mix it up. I like Nutrish for wet food, and even Blue Buffalo. And they have specific treats they get. They're all meat, protein driven, but they don't overeat. So I don't give them chips and steak and potatoes, and I don't do any of that stuff. So, I think it's because it's so regimented. Again, they don't have access. Emma did get a bacterial infection. We almost lost her after Christmas. I tried to move in here after the hurricane, and I threatened everybody. I said, who gave her food at Thanksgiving? Because he thought it was pancreatitis. It ended up being a bacterial infection. It was pain. I had to give her broth and mashed sweet potatoes through a syringe to get food down her because she would not eat. She would not. And we went through that for a month. And finally, we turned the corner. But we figured out that it was just a bacterial infection. I won't go into all the details of how that happened. We know now. But the people at dinner, because Thanksgiving was at my house, I said, I'd kill you if I find out you gave her dressing or turkey or pumpkin pie or something. What did she have? Because she was so sick. But it turned out not to be any of those things. So
Wow, Chris, it's unbelievable. Now, you've traveled the world in the seven seas, probably quite literally. Any places in the world? What's one of your favorite places you've seen thus far? And do you take like a kit, as it were, if they don't have like the food, because you talk about
I
regimented.
adjust. I adjust. Most places have stuff that I can eat. Amsterdam, for instance, I ate a lot of fresh, lean fish meat
Mhm.
there. Falafel, which is chickpeas.
Yummy.
It's one of my
I love
favorite foods.
it. Me too.
And Dublin was a little harder because they eat a little heavier. But at the time I was in Dublin, I was like 40, so I just went with it. I still lost weight while I was there because I walked everywhere.
Right.
I have a
Right.
picture of me, and I looked at that picture. I'm like, ooh, I look too thin in that. But no, I had ice cream. I had the big heavy breakfast. The Irish breakfast is huge.
Yeah,
Nothing like an English breakfast at all.
they don't play,
So,
man. Play.
sausage, potato pancakes, eggs. I ate all that stuff. But then in the afternoon, I just have a salad.
Wow. Do you like reading? And if so, like besides your own books, other books, like what's one of your favorite books that you'd
The
say
one that just
as
came
of
out.
late?
Yeah, of course I go blank when you asked me that question, and I was like, what's the? It's in there on the table.
Do you like Paulo Coelho back in the days to read when I was younger?
I read now. I use audiobooks mostly.
Okay.
I love the law of attraction stuff. Abraham Hicks,
Mhm.
Ask and It's Given. Those type of books. I'm very big on that belief that
Soft.
things are energetic.
Right.
Because I've seen that, and at 61, I can look back on my life and go, "Yeah, that's really true." That's really true.
Yeah, I can attest to that too.
What is the
How
motivational
about The
speaker?
Alchemist? Did you ever read The Alchemist
I
back when you were
did.
younger?
I
I read it
did.
many years
I
ago.
did. There was one that just came out about all the stuff we're talking about that goes into stem cell research, and I don't know why I can't think of
Oh,
his name.
okay.
He's a motivationalist. He's huge. I go blank a lot of times when I pressure myself to think of something. This minute we get off here, I'll think of it. Tony
Did you like
Robbins.
Tony Robbins?
Tony
Tony Robbins
Robbins.
at the same time.
Tony,
Cracker.
the book that he came out, yeah, the book that just came out a couple years ago
Mhm.
on wellness was really great.
Really?
So
I
I like
haven't
stuff like
read it.
that. I like reading anything to do with relations, how to communicate better, health and fitness. I have bookshelves. When I moved in here, I have bookshelves of books everywhere in different rooms because I had one room with all the books in there,
Right. Unbelievable.
kind of like a library. So I've been
Sure.
reading my whole life.
Yeah, I used to read back when I didn't have my ADHD. Got pretty bad, believe it or not. So,
Yeah, those
yeah,
audiobooks are
yeah,
amazing.
it's the way to
You
go,
be in the
huh?
car, you can be in the car and just,
Just
listen.
yeah, just take it all in.
Right.
Yeah, it's great because so I'm hearing you out this whole time. I'm thinking you're a super intentional person. I mean, do you start your day with intent? Like this is how my day's gonna go.
Yeah.
But you set kind of like
I
because
also meditate. I also
you
meditate
meditate.
pretty much every day for 15 to 20 minutes. And by meditate, it's the
Right.
mindfulness meditation where I
Well,
just don't think about anything.
yeah, you just
I
breathe in, breathe
focus
out.
on a noise or my breathing, and that's it. I let everything go. Some days that's easier than others. Some days it doesn't work at all. But
Ain't that the
on the
truth?
days when it does work, it really does make a big difference. You feel different
Right.
because you let go of all that stress.
Yeah. And you
You
almost like
disconnect.
yeah, you connect. There
And
you
a lot
go.
of great ideas usually come to you after that.
Really?
Yeah, you'll be driving in the
Um,
car after a day like that. And one of my biggest videos was not a video I intended to do. Um, I had done the mindfulness meditation. I went, I guess, to the store or something. I don't remember exactly where I
huh?
was going. And this video idea popped in my head out of nowhere. And I'm like, oh, that's a really good idea. I think I'll do that today. That sounds easy. So I went and did this video on how to skincare for your neck. And it was one of the first times I talked about how old I was, 56, when I did that video. And it blew my channel up.
Wow.
Blew it up. And it was an easy video. It wasn't really specially edited. It was just, here's what you need to do. If you're having these problems, very straightforward. Of course, I
Sure.
looked the way I do, didn't have the hat on, I had shorter haircut and less facial hair. So I looked even younger in that particular video, but it shocked a lot of
Sure.
people because I really never said my age. So that was a really good idea that came out of nowhere. That ended up being one of my best videos ever on the channel. Still
Wow,
does
that
really, really well.
right through meditation, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah. It just
connected and it
I didn't
into
get it.
your head
I didn't get the idea in the meditation, but later because it came
later.
through. I think because I was de-stressed. I
Right.
had taken myself out enough to make room in there. Sort of like when you're looking for your keys and you're like, oh,
Sure.
screw it. And you sit down and then the key where the keys are pop in your head. I
Yeah.
just did that last night looking for a tape measure. So I'm looking for a tape measure, and I've learned that's one of the laws of law of attraction is you can't find something you think is lost because you think it's lost.
Yeah.
The energy of it being lost is in the way. So I'm looking for
Yeah.
this stupid tape measure, and I look at all the places I ever put it. So I'm like, fine, I'll go get the big one, the bulky one. So I go and get the bulky one, and now I've solved the issue of having the tape measure. Guess what happens? Right away, it's in that drawer by the bed.
Amazing.
Right away. Right. As soon as I walked into the room with the other tape measure, as soon as I took that pressure off, the memory came back. It's crazy how that works.
It's almost like when you're looking for something.
Yeah, anything you're chasing, you're not going to catch. It's like it's the minute you think about it. Think about
That's the secret sauce right there to Hollywood.
Think about the people you wanted to date through your life that you really, when you were just all about them, you were obsessive about them, that you could not get a finger or a foot in the door, and you're like, screw it, fine, whatever. And then you meet somebody, you like them, and suddenly that person's available, and they want to go out with you. It's like, where the hell were you like a month ago?
I know.
So life is very much like that. Money, it's all the same thing. As long as you're focused on lack or the energy, and it's not just thinking I need more. There's an energy that you're in that says I don't have it, and that's what's attractive.
Certainly is an energy. Absolutely, you're right.
So, and I talk about this all the time. Same thing with the YouTube channel. Same thing. I busted my butt for the first 2 years and ended up having to move. And I said, this is the first time in 2 years, and the channel was doing okay. It wasn't great. I'm not going to do videos. I can't even worry about YouTube anymore. I just got to put that aside and get this done. And guess what? 3 videos went viral.
Right.
The algorithm, because I was paying. And I'm like, how is that possible? Same thing in the pandemic. Right? People were home.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't feel like doing a video. I'm sick. I got COVID, whatever. Thing took off again. It's just weird. It's just weird. It's weird how it works, but
it's a conundrum, but a good damn conundrum, right?
And I can tell you, it's hard to break the habits because I'm at 61 and you think I'd know better, but I still obsess over stuff.
Yeah, we do. I think it's
until and even I can tell myself, you know better, you know this isn't going to work. You know, as long as you feel this way and you're thinking this way, nothing's going to change till you let it go. But I can't let it go.
But if you watch something funny, I think if you watch something funny, you notice how you feel good again, and then you line up once again. I mean, it's just the idea of always being centered and in the moment and not allowing things to bog you down. Well, it's been nothing but fun, man, talking to you. God, I got to say, I'm beyond thrilled, and most importantly, thank you. You're so gracious for coming on. Chris, what are your is it your social media handles before is it Chris Gibson?
Chris Gibson Live on YouTube, Chris Gibson Friends, and Skin So Fabulous on IG. There's 2 of them. Chris Gibson Friends on Facebook, and Skincare with Chris on TikTok. And I think that's it, because I don't really use X or Twitter for anything. So not really. I'm there, but there's not a lot going on there. So.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm beyond just excited to have you on here, man. And almost like it's been honestly, for me, it's been like going to school and retraining my mind in certain ways. I mean, between having you and I had another person the other day, I had Rayhan, I learned how to kind of relearn. We had to sort of reinvent the wheel, if you will, about how to eat more sensibly, and what to the intake dietary wise. And now, I mean, I'm doing pretty good because I mean, I'm like late 40s. I'm almost gonna enter my 50s, but I want to look like you. That's the goal, Chris. So
just be consistent. I say the biggest key to everything is consistency.
My man, it's been nothing but great. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Chris Gibson, everyone. I'm almost famous.
Thanks.
I'll have
Thank
this
you
out
for
in
having me.
3 or 4 days. Okay, I'll let you know,
Yep.
and I have it out. Thanks again, my man.
All right.
It's been nothing but insightful and all the way around entertaining having you on. Thank
All
you,
right.
and enjoy the rest
Appreciate
of your time
it.
there. Okay,
Thank
take
you.
care.
Bye-bye.
That's my show, guys. Goodbye.